Hello, Hope Squad. I'm Jordan.
I'm DJ.
I'm Dre.
And together we are the Big Infinite. Happy to be back for another Hope Squad conference. We cannot begin to tell you how much we appreciate and value the work that you all do for your peers in your schools, your communities, and just for mental health in general. And so it's a real honor to be with you here today. We figured we'd kick things off by sharing with you a brand new music video for a song of ours called I Am Love. We had the good fortune a couple years back of connecting with producer-director Greg DeCherry, and we've collaborated with him on a music and mental wellness documentary called The Power of Expression that explores our journey into mental health. As part of that documentary, there is a live performance of that song, I Am Love, and Greg was kind enough to create a music video for that performance. So without further ado, we'd like to share with you I Am Love, the music video.
First started to see what panic attacks and anxiety was like in first grade. Experienced a lot of dark times.
My first experience with depression started my senior year of high school, and it progressed and got worse after that.
I started to develop this undercurrent of depression in my life. And there were periods where I just wouldn't get out of bed for weeks on end. That depression was characterized by thoughts that were self-limiting. At worst, those thoughts turned self-hating. Thanks to the power of expression, I less and less believe the hype in my head. I am not my thoughts. I choose to stand when my head tells me otherwise. With my heart beating out my chest, singing hallelujah to whoever's listening. Can we let this kingdom come? I am love before anything else. It's just sometimes I must remind myself. And I choose to laugh in the face of depression. With all these tears running down my face, the truth of freedom is her joy and sorrow. No before tomorrow, only now. I am love before anything else. Must remind myself. I am worthy of an unconditional love. I am worthy of an unconditional love. I am worthy of all the dreams that I can muster up. I am worthy of an unconditional love. And I choose to dance when my body's failing me, 'cause I am more than just these shaking bones. For far too long I've pushed you all away from me, but now it's time for us to know I am love before anything else. I am love before anything else. It's just sometimes I must remind myself. That music video starts by detailing some of the struggles DJ, Andre, and I have been navigating over the last several years. DJ with a succession of surgeries that ultimately led to him having his lower leg amputated. Andre with experiences of trauma that created an ongoing ripple effect of PTSD. And me with the loss of my father to clinical depression and suicide. Initially, these challenges caused us to feel tremendous weakness and vulnerability. But eventually they proved to create a greater sense of empowerment and well-being. And this is entirely due to the fact that in our most dark and challenging moments, we made the choice to practice self-care. The first verse of that song, I Am Love, starts with the lyric, I choose to stand, though my head tells me otherwise. And this is exactly what we were called to do. At first, our headspace flooded with stories of hopelessness. Thoughts of life not being fair and us not being up to the challenge and, things weren't going to work out. They weren't going to get any better. And so we might as well wave the white flag and give in. But we recognize that we are not those thoughts. And our emotions are not conclusions. It's all just passing weather. And we realize this through our continued dedication to pausing, breathing, and creating this space for hope. Now, for each of us, this process was very different. So we thought we'd take a moment just to share what that looked like on a personal level.
I've been dealing with chronic pain for 19 years, and it's affected every aspect of my life, from my sleeping to my eating to the thoughts in my headspace. I felt like a burden. I felt like I'm not good enough. I've even felt like less of a man because I couldn't do everything that other men can do. I started to pass out from chronic pain some years ago and started to deepen my meditation practice. And it allowed me to be able to take time for myself and not push as hard as I was. It allowed me to not believe the hype in my head. And most importantly, it's allowed me to learn to love myself.
My experiences with trauma and PTSD just left me feeling desperately vulnerable. I had trust issues, very little to no trust with anything in my life. My emotions I couldn't control. And just put a strain on all of my relationships. And at that point, I needed to address the relationship with myself. It was through creating routines, starting my day off with, glasses of water, setting aside time for a walk, to read a book, to play a game. Creating those routines created stability for me and helped me to be able to weather the storms as they, pass in and out of my life.
As for me, when I lost my dad, obviously it created this tremendous amount of grief and unearthed a lot of depression and anxiety that I hadn't been dealing with for quite some time. And I didn't like the feeling of those emotions just kind of looming beneath my surface. And so I really wanted to go kind of head first into that storm of emotion because otherwise it was kind of like I was just waiting to be triggered at any moment, whether it was a memory of my father or a reminder of the suicide, which were plenty. I mean, from song lyrics to scenes in movies to just people in a casual conversation saying things like, I made a mistake, I should kill myself. All that stuff stung, and I didn't like the feeling of meeting that on life's terms. I kind of wanted to meet it on my own terms. And so I created a meditation practice for myself the day after my dad's funeral. And I carved out 15 minutes every day just to breathe and to kind of feel what I needed to feel. And very often tears would just pour down my face for that entire meditation. And sometimes those emotions, though they weren't as readily available, they kind of felt stuck. And so I would conjure them forth. I would listen to songs that reminded me of my dad or read through old text messages. And gradually, slowly and surely through that process, what started initially as feelings of devastation and disbelief and trauma and tragedy gradually became more an experience of just remembering my dad and the wonderful times that we shared, and really allowed me an ability to carry the positive stuff he left me with and carry that forward. Just a small taste of what things were like on an individual level for us. and really as we kind of worked on our relationship with ourselves. But another aspect to healing had to do with our relationships with other people, with one another as a band. We went from being just bandmates to real brotherhood because we were open and honest with each other and what we were navigating. And the same is true as our relationship deepened with our other friends and family and just the community at large. And so this kind of brings us full circle back to the Power of Expression, that music and mental wellness documentary that we did with Craig DeCherry, because that is largely about how we navigated things as a band from the moment my father died by suicide. And so we thought this would be a good time to share that trailer with you all.
Love what you have with all that you have, and continue to get through all of your battles. It's okay, life didn't go that way.
We started our career in the music business under the name Fiction 20 Down. We won the Breakout Artist of the Year at the Maryland Music Awards, began touring all across the U.S., and even charted in the top 10 on iTunes. But all of that came to an abrupt end when I got the call. My father had passed away. His battle with clinical depression had culminated in suicide. This was the great wake-up call of my life, and a turning point for our band. You see, he believed the hype in his head when I told him there was no hope. If there's one thing I've experienced and come to realize since my father passed away, it's that just about everybody can relate to what it feels like to be depressed or anxious.
I first started to see what panic attacks and anxiety was like in first grade.
My first experience with depression started my senior year of high school.
Now, I'd wanted to be a singer-songwriter since high school, but thanks to the anxiety, I didn't get around to singing out loud for anybody else to hear until I was 27 years old.
At the end of the day, I just wanna be found. Whoa, I just wanna be found.
And though I'd written songs for a number of years before I lost my dad, it was only after he passed that I started to get really and truly honest in my songs.
I choose to stand when my head tells me otherwise, with my heart beating out my chest.
Depression and anxiety had always been the things that isolated me from the world, and now they were the very thing that was connecting me to people. And if you are in the midst of some mental, emotional struggle, the power of expression can not only help you to cope with those experiences, but as well help you to heal. Darkness cannot exist in the presence of light.
I choose to laugh in the face of depression,
And you are that light.
with all these tears running down my face.
Together, we will heal.
The truth of freedom is her joy and sorrow. No before tomorrow, only now. I am loved before anything else. It's just sometimes I must remind myself.
The power of expression is all about pausing and creating that space for self-care in our daily lives. No matter the distractions we have or the busyness of our schedules, just making that commitment to practice self-care day in, day out. It's all about breathing and fostering that deeper, more intimate relationship with ourselves. And through that fostering of that relationship, arriving at the realization that we are love. Certainly our headspace might tell us other stories at times, and our life circumstances might try to tell us otherwise. But as we continue that commitment to self-care, that pause and that breathing process, we realize that we are love. And with that realization, hopefulness becomes effortless. So we would encourage all of you to practice self-care. We know that you certainly have a commitment to your peers and to your school communities through the Hope Squad. But we want you and encourage you to measure that care you have for others with care and love and support for yourselves. We'd like to close just by saying thank you. The work you're doing in your schools is absolutely amazing, and I can speak for all three of us when I say that we're jealous because we wish that Hope Squads existed when we were in school. But we all have young children who in 5, 10, 15 years are going to be in high schools themselves. And thanks to you all, they're going to grow up in a very different world than we did, a world where mental health is met with compassion. So for that, we are indebted to you. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we wish you all the best.